Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And before moving ahead, I would like to read out this very important disclaimer. That is, by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not a legal advice. So, use of information is at your own risk. All right, friends, after this very important disclaimer, once again, welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are here with another very exciting and very lively topic that is lined up for you. And the topic is, can you increase your chance of H-1B selection in 2025 in the lottery? So this is really interesting. This is so exciting. And whenever we talk about H-1B lottery, we have this notion that it's all about luck. But is it actually? Or with some steps, with some strategies, you can actually increase your chance of being selected in the lottery. Well, we don't know the answer yet, but I'm sure after watching this webinar, you will definitely get your answer. Because in this webinar, we really have a great attorney who is expert in guidance and who has years of experience in immigration, who loves helping people with their green card and immigration goals as well. The driving force behind Gondim Law Corp, based in Los Angeles, none other than attorney Marcelo Gondim. So, hi, Marcelo, and thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for this session. And again, welcome to Immigration Talk Show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. So, Marcelo, I'm sure that these days you might be busy with so many things because it's 2025 H-1B lottery season. So, how's your experience going? Are you really being exhausted or excited with the clients and the complications that's been happening?
Yes, it's more exciting than concerning right now. We have a new program, our new program, like I would say, a revised program, the H-1B program for this year. It was
Mhm.
implemented by the outgoing administration, the Biden administration, where certain rules were they made more flexible, more reachable the H-1B visa for many people and for many employers to be able to hire those skilled workers. So those rules are into place right now, and we are seeing that in motion at the moment, and they are very exciting.
That's right. Absolutely. So, Marcelo, do you think that H-1B is all, lottery system is all about luck, or with some strategies or with some steps, someone actually improved the chance for their selection?
Well, nowadays it's all about luck. That's the short answer to your question. In the past, companies used to apply some kind of trick. I
Yeah.
would say sometimes register the person more than one time, create several registrations for the same individual, the same candidates, or
Mhm.
through different companies for the same beneficiary. Um, and then if the person is selected for one company but not selected for the other, they will just start working for the new company and do the portability. So they used to do this kind of trickery before, but since 2000, since the fiscal year, the program for the fiscal year 2025, and now we are working with the fiscal year 2026, the Biden administration removed the ability of people to kind of trick the system by doing this. So now it's one registration per individual. It's actually being, we have to use the person's passport information to, so if you give your passport information, you have your number, your passport number there, then obviously another duplicate registration cannot be created. That makes it more fair for everybody who only registers once, and
Mhm.
everybody will have the same chance, which is about 20-25% chance of being selected
Yeah,
for this year's H-1B lottery.
that's right. Absolutely. So, Marcelo, absolutely, the changes are there and multiple registration is no more. That's right. But, just talking in general terms, do you think the H-1B lottery is fair enough because it doesn't go with skills or doesn't go with any qualification? As you said, starting of the show, it completely upon luck. So, do you think it's fair, or do you, just your personal opinion, what do you think about the lottery system?
Well, the lottery system is actually, I think, the I cannot think of a better way to handle this. So you have an H-1B visa category,
Mm-hmm.
which only allows for 65,000 new entrants per year, per
Yeah.
fiscal year. There is another 20,000 for people who graduated from high
Mm-hmm.
education, uh, they obtain high education degrees in the United States. So they will go for another 20,000 additional visas, but the regular is 65,000 visas for a country with the economy of the United States. So the needs are the demand is very high for these skilled workers,
Mm-hmm.
professional workers, and there's not enough visas for them. So what can you do to make sure that everybody has the same chance? So they created a lottery system. The lottery system, though, does not take into evaluation at this moment the qualification of the person. So even if the person is not even qualified for the H-1B, they can still apply for the register for the lottery. But then if they get selected and eventually they don't apply or they don't qualify for the H-1B visa, then a new lottery will be ran down the road before, of course, the end of the fiscal year that we are now, 2025. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're going to run additional lotteries, and then more people will be considered again for this lottery. So it's not really a matter of, because if you have to verify if everybody qualifies or if everybody has good standing, good qualifications for the H-1B visa, then this process is going to be too difficult. So it's better to just let everybody register, and then once people get selected, they will have a chance to apply. And then USCIS will verify the credentials, the education, the experience, and the occupation, and then approve or not the H-1B visa for that person. So that at that time, if many cases are denied or some cases are denied, and you have numbers that were not used by the people who were selected for whatever reason, then they're going to conduct a different lottery and call more people so they can use all the 65,000 visas for the current fiscal year.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that's very well explained, Marcelo, and that's absolutely perfectly mentioned because it's not possible to just check with just having 3 minutes or 5 minutes interview with any person and giving them the right that yes, you are highly skilled as compared to the other person. Because for some people, skilled worker also has a different definitions, right? It's not only about medals, it's not only about qualifications, it's also about how much you're contributing to the society, to the economy. So I think to make the system fair enough, this lottery system is there so that nobody has any control and everybody has equal chance. And that's very well put up. But still, Marcelo, I'm still curious to know that is there nothing to do with any strategy, or is there nothing that any applicant can try to increase the chance by having some strategies, even a small strategies, if you could let us know with that thing?
To increase the chances to get selected on the lottery, no, because the lottery is electronic. So basically, they have all the registrations, and the people register. They have the registration, and the computer is going to run this lottery, this random selection, in
Mm-hmm.
the end of the month. So I don't, unless there is something inside the system that
Mm-hmm.
some insiders might point out to. There's no really a way to increase your chances since you can have only one registration per beneficiary.
All right. Okay. That's fair enough. And also, Marcelo, there's another thing that some of the applications also got rejected before even entering the lottery system. So I would also like to talk about that. That what are some of the most common mistakes that get applications rejected before they even enter the lottery system?
Well, that's probably failure to properly register. So you have the guidelines to register. You have to have a passport. You have to have the information. You don't have to disclose the position yet that you're going to be applying for, but at least the name of the person, the name of the employer, passport number. It's the registration is actually very simple. So basically, you cannot screw this up. But once you register and you are selected, then many things can go wrong when the petition is actually filed.
That's right. That's right. And is it also true, Marcelo, that if we say that, okay, let's file early in the H-1B process, then can that not guarantee, of course, but at least make a better chance or increase the chance for the selection?
A chance for selection, no. Chance to qualify for the H-1B visa, yes, after you selected, but to
You know.
increase the chance for the selection, no.
All right. And also, I would like to know that what role, if any, does premium processing play in increasing the chances of the selection? So, does it speed up the process or improve the outcomes?
Well, the premium processing is something that happens after the selection. So after you are selected, when you file the petition or when your employer files the petition, then the premium processing service will be an option if they want the case to be adjudicated in 15 days. If not, they can just go run the regular course, which would take about probably 3 months or so. So it's not really even necessary to use the premium processing service when you apply for H-1B, because even if you say you're selected on the lottery, so now
Mhm.
you're going to be applying in the beginning of April, and then why do you need to have the case approved in 15 days if you're only going to be allowed to start working for that
Yeah,
employer on October 1st of the same year? So you get the case approved, but it's just for psychological relief, let's put it this way, because now you know that you've been approved. So now you can make your plans. You can, you can have better planning because you know now that on October 1st you have that job. So that's the
mm,
only benefit of using the premium processing service at this point. But it does not increase or decrease your chances of being selected.
that's right. That's right. Okay, and also, Marcelo, I would like to know that, for example, if someone gets selected in the lottery, but later on they want to switch the employers, because some cases also takes place in this way. So, is it going to affect the lottery outcome or visa approval of that candidate who got selected in the lottery, and after that they want to switch? Or, and if yes, then how can they handle such a transition legally?
No, it's not a problem there. Actually, there is a portability rule on the H-1B. It means that if you have an H-1B through an employer and you want to switch to a different employer, you can switch. The rules are very flexible, but you need to make sure that it's a comparable position that is actually also covered under the H-1B. So you cannot go from an H-1B position to a non-H-1B compliant position.
Mm-hmm.
You can switch, and then once you file the new petition, you can start already working for your new employer. So the portability is very simple, although we still have a problem with USCIS making mistakes in cases like this.
Oh, okay, that's strange. Also, Marcelo, if you could let us know about the transition process, how one can switch from different employer. What is the process for that?
So once you have your H-1B, your valid H-1B status, if your new employer files a new form I-129, then you're allowed to start working for the new employer, or you can stay with the previous employer until the petition is approved. This is actually the best practice, if possible. But sometimes the new employer wants that person so desperately they don't want to wait.
Yeah.
The problem with this is if that petition is not approved, then that person lost their status. So now you don't have legal status anymore because you've been denied. So you have to reapply and possibly have to go back to your country or go out of the United States to pick up the visa when the new petition is approved. So there are certain things that need to be considered before making the decision to start working for your employer right away. But the regulations allow you, as soon as the petition is filed, the filing date is the date you can start working for your new employer.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and with that, Marcelo, I would also like to know that if we see the 2025 time, then of course there are lots of changes, lots of scrutiny regarding the immigration process. So, if we compare the lottery system of 2025 with the previous lottery system, then is it that registration fees is also increased, right? It's from $10 to $15. So, what changes should we expect this lottery system? Are we going to see less forms, or we see more forms? I mean, what do you think? What your, I would say, intuition feels like?
Well, I think the fees are probably used to probably, sort of, I would say, reject those curious applicants who actually don't have a real stake on the H-1B, but they register anyways. And only more serious candidates will be registering because the fee is significantly higher. It's about 20 times higher than the fee that we had before.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be an issue for the person who actually wants the H-1B because $215 is not a lot of money when you talk about what you can get with the H-1B visa. So we don't think that's gonna be any kind of reduction in the number of applicants, but USCIS believes that some of the curious applicants will be uh, discouraged to register for this.
All right. Interesting. And Marcelo, I would like to know more about this topic. That, for example, if applicants they have the higher salary as compared to the other person, then is it somewhere is it going to make a difference in the selection process, or again the wages or the salary doesn't matter in the lottery system?
It doesn't matter because you won't be even the position is not going to be disclosed yet at that point. So the lottery is just the name of the company, the name of the beneficiary, and the beneficiary's passport. Basically, that's all they have to conduct the lottery. So everything that we're talking about is going to come after once the person has the petition filed with USCIS and USCIS promptly adjudicates that petition.
All right. So it means that only the company's name and the beneficiary name has been shown up. Nothing else, no other details is shown for the lottery, right?
Yeah, the lottery is it's just a ticket that you get to see if you're selected, and then you can apply. And then by the time you apply, then you have to disclose everything because everything will be taken into consideration for approval.
Mhm.
So then it's going to be the professional resume, the educational credentials, everything that has importance to the petition.
Absolutely, that's right. And also, for example, if we say that, what are, of course, we talked about the common mistakes, then is it possible for anyone, who is looking forward to the application, then if two employers who are working from the same company apply for the H-1B lottery, so is there some role for the employer who can influence their application and can try to increase the chance? Is there the role of the employer that they can try to increase the chance for the lottery?
Well, right now that will not be possible because they can only apply for one. They cannot register one person. The company can apply multiple applicants, but that beneficiary has only one registration. So some companies, I can say, for example, the tech companies, they're probably going to file thousands of registrations, hundreds of thousands of registrations, but maybe 20% of their registrants are going to be selected and the
Mm-hmm.
others won't. So, but the company can have multiple registration. The beneficiary cannot. So it's every registration is beneficiary specific.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And what if, Marcelo, as we have been talking about, that selection doesn't depend on any qualification or any skill, it completely depends upon your luck. But still, I would like to ask that what else our viewers, what else they can keep themselves motivated by the H-1B lottery, because it's really disheartening for them. There are so many people who applied for twice, thrice, or even more than that, and they are becoming, little demotivated and depressed and losing the hope for the selection. So, what message would you like to give to them?
Well, it's hard. That's a hard. I would say have some hope or more hope than you're already having. So, which is something perhaps too big to ask, but that's all you have to do. You have to have hope that you're going to be selected eventually. There are ways that you can not be subject to the lottery. So you can go right away to apply any time of the year, and you don't have to go. That's the application that are considered cap exempt. So those are when you're going to work in a specialty occupation for a company that is a non-profit organization, for example, that deals with research. So in
Yeah.
that case, those jobs are not subject to the cap, so they don't go to the lottery. So if you're tired of getting not selected at the lottery year after year, then probably look for a job in a non-profit organization that conducts research. So it is very important to understand the difference between the previous year and this current year of H-1B
Mhm.
process. So the Biden administration came out with a rule that was published on January 17th, and this rule has some changes.
Yeah.
The most important change for the cap exempt is that now the nonprofit organization does not have to be primarily engaged in research. Research has to be one of the things that that company does, the organization does, not the primary one. So
Yeah.
that makes the H-1B cap exempt more flexible. So more employers will be able to qualify. So those are not going to be counting against the numbers on the lottery. They can go freely any time of the year. They can apply. In this case, it's good to have the premium processing because in 15 days you have the notification that your case got approved or denied, depending on the case. But that's for the cap exempt. Um, since we're talking about this, another big change that the Biden administration implemented on the H-1B program for this year is, and I've seen a question about this already here, it's about the people who are applying through their own companies. So you can have even a majority, a controlling interest in the business that is your employer. So this made clear some rule because in the past, in the H-1B, you can apply, you can petition H-1B through your own company. But now it makes clear that even if you're controlling partner, you can still have the H-1B file through that company. Another big change.
Absolutely, that's a very big change. Also, I think now if you have mentioned the cap exempt thing, then let's also dive into it. I would also like to know, Marcelo, that if we talk about the normal lottery system, then of course, highly skilled workers and professionals are just trying to have a selection in the lottery system. But why, I would like to know the reason behind that, why the cap exempt are free from the lottery system. What is the reason that USCIS hasn't kept the same rule for the cap exempt people? What makes them different from the other people, other workers?
It's not really them, it's about the position. So if you're going to work for a nonprofit organization and your work involves research or their business or their nonprofit organization conducts research, so the system wants to encourage more research. So research is somehow, in the eyes of the legislature, it's more important than just regular jobs. I don't necessarily agree with that, but research can open so many doors and can provide so much growth on the economy and society and everything, welfare of the society. So it's really important to have research not being barred by a lottery system. uh, on the other hand, when you're applying to just work as an employee for a company, then you have only 65,000 visas available per year. There was a time that the visas were 195,000 per year.
Wow.
And I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong now, but if I'm not mistaken, this extended cap expired in 2007. And you know how the economy was 2007, how the economy is nowadays. So the
Mhm.
demand for H-1B workers is much higher today than it was 2007, but Congress has to act upon it. Congress has to pass legislation to increase the number, if not permanently, at least temporarily, like they did back in the days. So Congress has to do something about it. But to your question, what makes it special that to allow those people to apply without being subject to the cap is the
Yeah.
fact that they're going to work in an area that involves research. So research has to be encouraged by any country, any industrialized nation on the planet likes to um, attract research talent to their countries. And the United States is not different than that.
But you said, Marcelo, you don't agree with the thing that research is very important and they shouldn't come under the lottery system category. I would like to know more about your opinion. Why do you think like that way?
Well, research is important, but I don't think should be so much important than regular work because those companies actually need those workers. They cannot expand their business sometimes because they don't have enough personnel in the United States. So that's why I don't think that should be different than the I believe the H-1B shouldn't have a cap, or if there was a cap, the cap should be much higher than just 65,000.
Yeah.
But for example, they have another 20,000 for people who graduated, who got like a master's degree in the United States from a United States university. They
Mhm.
run a separate cap, which is 20,000 additional to the 65,000. So they have a much better chance of being approved. So I believe the system is putting people in three different categories for the H-1B based on what they think is more important. The first one is the regular employer who has a employee who has a bachelor's degree. The second group that's much higher and better chances are the ones who graduated from a master's degree in the United States. And the third group is the ones that want to work in companies that conduct research. Non-profit organizations conducting research. Also, non-profit organization also is a very good appeal because they are not for profit. So one of the criticism about the H-1B is that some companies explore or exploit the foreign workers on the H-1B, even in detriment of American workers. So they prefer to pay less to a foreigner who's going
Mhm.
to work H-1B in the same occupation rather than pay higher wages to Americans. It's not always the truth that this happens, but this is that's something to consider when there is criticism about the H-1B program. But now, when you talk about non-profit organization, they are viewed differently than for-profit businesses. For-profit business, they actually do this kind of stuff. The non-profit organizations normally don't do this. So that's probably another reason why they are cap exempt.
Yeah. All right, that's great. And I think that's perfectly put up that, of course, there should be three categories. The third one should also come the researchers and the people who are like cap exempt. Of course, and that's very well understandable. You know, it feels little different that what does make them so special that they don't come under the lottery, and that too, the cap is also just 65,000. So it feels so, I would say. Bad for most of the applicants because they have been keep on trying for years and years, right? And for cap exam they have to be a researcher or somewhere like professor in Harvard University, so that again builds up another challenge. So I think that's very well put up, and it's more about Marcelo, to make our audiences aware about the different perspective and different ideologies that these all things can also may happen in the system, and they can also be aware regarding the information. They shouldn't be just stick to what the rules are actually, but they should also start asking questions. So I think that's very well put up. And now I would like to also take up our viewers' question. I can see a lot of viewers here. Patricia is here, and she is. Hi, Patricia. Thank you so much for this clapping emoji. And Sneha is here. Then Bruno is here. All right. Dipti is also here. Bishnu is here. So, hi, guys, and thank you so much for participating in this session. And don't forget also that we are live on YouTube, available on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. So, follow us on these many platforms and put as many questions as possible because this session is completely for our audience. And whatever questions guys you are having in your mind, please feel free. We are here for another half an hour, and after a quick break we will cover the questions that we are getting from our viewers. So don't go anywhere. And Marcelo, I think you have already informed us a lot of things, so let's have a short break. You take a glass of water so that you can relax a bit, and after that we will definitely take our viewers questions. So friends, don't go anywhere. It's me, Sam. We are having a great discussion on the topic that can you increase your chance of being selected in the H-1B lottery. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back, so don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are having a great discussion on the topic that can you increase your chances of being selected in the H-1B lottery? Until now, I'm sure that most of our viewers got the answer that, friends, it's all about luck. That's what attorney Marcelo Gondim has said. But still, you don't have to lose your hope because that's how the process goes. And it's actually to make the whole system fair enough so that each one of you have the equal chance and there shouldn't be any discrimination going on. So, with that, I would also like to welcome back to Marcelo to second part of this webinar. So, Marcelo, I think now it's time to take up our viewers' comments because they have been posting a lot of comments and questions. Okay, so let me take Sneha firstly. Sneha is asking that I missed last year's H-1B cap. If I register multiple times through different employers, does that improve my odds or is that risky?
Well, it's not risky. It's just impossible because now, like we said before, it has to be through your passport. Your passport number will be provided, so there's no. You cannot have one registration per person.
That's right. And I think now it's illegal also. You can't apply for the multiple registration. So yeah, that's a sad chance. And Bruno is here, and Bruno is asking that how about the self petitioners? What are your perspectives? Yeah,
I think the self petitioners. I don't like to call self petitioners because self petitions mean that you're petitioning yourself. And there's a separation in the United States law. There's a separation between what's a company and what's the individual. Even if the individual is the 100% owner of that company, it is still separation of entities. So when you say self-petition, it's you are petitioning yourself. But because you are the owner of the company, doesn't mean that you're being a self-petitioner. There's still a petitioner, which is your company, and the beneficiary, which is you. So in that case, the chances of being approved or denied are the same as if it's another, because the regulations actually clarify in the from the proposed rule and the published rules from the Biden administration that even if you are a controlling partner, that company, that business can still petition your H-1B, and there should be no difference on that. I am sure that USCIS adjudicators might feel a little skeptical of some cases when companies were created just for the purpose of applying for the H-1B, so that once they get approved, they
yeah,
can switch to a different employer. So that's going to be in the minds of the adjudicators as well. So, which is not actually illegal to do that, but if you don't plan on having that company actually operating, then it might be considered immigration fraud. So it might be you should be careful with this. But normally, if you have your own business and your business is in the best position to decide who they want to apply for, which is in this case you. So you should go ahead and file. It's not going to be self-petition. It's going to be a petitioner and a beneficiary, like I said, but that can be your own company.
All right. Okay, so thank you so much, Marcelo, for explaining that in a very detailed form, and that too clearing up this a very common, misconception that most of the people have. And Bruno, in case if you have any follow-up question or would like to know more about the topic, then please go ahead and put up more comments as possible, and we will definitely take them up. And let's take Dipti's comment now. Dipti is here, and she is saying that I work for a small startup and they are willing to sponsor me. Do smaller companies have a harder time getting their applicants selected in the lottery? If my employer files my H-1B under both the regular cap and the master's cap, does that really double my chances? Okay.
I wouldn't say double your chance. You already have a much better chance because you're gonna run from on a separate cap, which is the additional 20,000 because you have a master's degree. So you
Mhm.
already have a better chance there. But that doesn't mean that you have smaller companies have less chance of getting their cases selected in the lottery than bigger companies. I wouldn't. I have no indication that this is the case.
Okay. And Marcelo, I ask regarding in the terms of percentage, then could you just let us know that in terms of percentage, how much chances are for the 20,000 applicants have chances for the lottery if they are graduated from the US universities?
But the percentage of chance, I have to see how many of them are going to apply and how many of them are not going to be pre-selected on the regular 65. So that's very hard to it's very hard to calculate this because it depends on how many are going to apply. We're expecting for the regular cap 300,000 applications for 65,000 visas, which is roughly 20-25% of chance. So
Yeah.
I believe the chances on the master degree cap should be much higher than that because there's less people that qualify for this, and
Mm-hmm.
about a third of the 65,000, a third equivalent to a third of those visas will be selected just for this small group, or I would say smaller group of candidates. So the
Yeah.
chances should be much bigger if you have a master's degree from a U.S. university and you apply under the additional 20,000 visas.
All right. So we can also say that, if someone has a US university degree, then they have at least a better chance of being selected in the lottery as compared to the 65,000 people, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Because
they,
they have there's less people in that category that have this master's degree from a U.S. university, and
Mhm.
also they have 20,000 visas dedicated to that group. So the chances are much much higher.
That's right. So I think, friends, now you can go ahead and look for that option too. That's, I won't say that's simple, but at least that will increase your chance for the lottery, and that will definitely, get your dream come true to live in US and work in US. But thank you so much, Dipti, for your comment. And let's take up Bishnu's comment here. And Bishnu is asking that I'm a STEM graduate on OPT. If my H-1B doesn't get picked, should I consider a day one CPT program, or could that cause issues later?
No, the STEM OPT or the OPT in general is a very good solution for people who completed their degrees, and you should really make good use of this program because it's really good. That is actually when you do the H-1B and, for example, your OPT ends before the period of time that you're gonna be starting working for your H-1B employer. There is something called the cap gap, which is a bridge on your OPT so that you can continue in the United States waiting for October 1st when you can start working through the H-1B.
That's right. Okay. And thank you so much, Vishnu, for your comment. And let me take Gautam's comment now. Gautam is saying, I completed my master's in December 2024 and I'm applying for the H-1B lottery in March 2025. So, do I need to have my degree officially conferred before applying?
Yes, you have to have that degree. So in order for you to qualify, you need to have the degree. But you don't have to have that yet to do the
Mhm.
registration for the lottery. But once you apply in April, if you are selected, you need to have that degree because if you file the petition with USCIS and you don't have that degree at the moment, they are not going to consider that your petition, even if you get your degree later. And also remember that if you don't apply right away in April, let's say you get selected, but you don't have your degree, there's some kind of delay with the university, and then you keep going, 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 and then it comes like April, and it comes May, and you still were not able to file. If the 65,000 visas are exhausted, then
Mhm.
you won't be able to apply later. It's not like in May or June that this happens. Normally, it happens more towards the end of the fiscal year, like around maybe August or September. But you still have to file your petition as soon as possible. So you need to really expedite this with the school because if you don't have that degree conferred by the time you apply, your petition will be denied.
All right. So I hope, Gautam, you got to know what you have to do and make sure that you follow the steps very carefully so that, you don't face the another problem. And right now, Marcelo, we have covered all the questions that we got from our viewers. Now, I would also like to take up our YouTube comments as well, because, as we do shows, our viewers also post questions over there. So, with your permission, I would like to go with those also.
Let's go.
Okay, that's great. Control, if you could show or share the screen. Okay, that's great. So we have Shri Harsha, and he's asking that thank you for detailed information. I'm in a similar situation. I'm an Indian citizen by birth and moved to Canada as a permanent resident. Got my H-1B approved recently in January 2025. So I was an Indian citizen when my H-1B got approved. After this, on March 6th, my Canadian citizenship application got approved, and I'm gonna get my Canadian passport. So, do I need to go for stamping with my Canadian passport? My wife's inland PR is still in process in the last stage. How do I schedule for H4 visa appointment? And is there a way for US to travel together to the United States?
Well, about the registration with the new citizenship, this is only if in your previous country you lose your citizenship by naturalizing in a different country. So in that case, you will have to do that. But if India, for example, allows for dual citizenship, then you shouldn't have a problem with that.
All right. Okay. Let's move ahead with our next comment. And the TDVP is here and saying that thank you for the valuable info. I'm a teacher not funded by the government on culture exchange teacher visa. I understood that Indian J1 visa holders don't have to go back for 2 year rule. Can I apply for the H-1B after my 5 years of program, or is there any process or permissions to be taken like waivers before apply for the H-1B?
No, in that case, you won't have that problem. There was actually a regulation, a new rule that came out a couple of months ago, and about 30 countries were listed in this list of countries that do not require to people from those countries don't require to have a J1 waiver before they can switch to a different category.
Mhm.
So, and I believe that India was one of them.
That's right. Okay. Let's move ahead with our next question, please. Suchit is here, and Suchit is saying that thank you so much for discussing the scenario. Would the timeline for EB2 and IW as a physician still depend on the country? I am an IMG from India, currently in residency training, serving the underserved population on an H-1B. Yeah.
Yes, the problem with the EB2 national interest waiver or any EB employment based case is that India and so China, they have separate lines for on the visa bulletin because those countries have already uh, surpassed the 7% maximum of the diversity program. So because of the number of people from India and China being significantly higher than the other countries, way more than 7%, they
Mhm.
have this extended lines waiting period. So in the EB2 national interest waiver for someone from India will take probably several years before this person will be able to obtain the green card. The good news, if there's some good news about this, that's not really good news, but if there is some good about this, is that if you are on your EB2 and your case is approved, your I-140 has been approved, and you have your H-1B, you can stay under the H-1B more than the 6 year limit. So you can stay doing 1 year increments until the visa bulletin becomes current for India.
That's actually a good news.
That's such good news because they won't have to, and that's why some a little a little off topic comment here. This is why some companies like to have Indians and Chinese employees for the H-1B because they cannot really go anywhere. Once they file the petition gets approved easily. But then that petition is on the visa bulletin backlog, and the person has to be renewing year after year, and they can stay with the company. They don't have the flexibility of leaving the company for a better job, so
Mhm.
they get subject to whatever the company wants to do with them. And that's really sad, but it's actually good for some people who have a legitimate interest in working for the employer, and the employer wants them, and they can extend the visa past the 6 year. But there is also some kind of abuse on this on
Yeah.
Indians and Chinese people, and I'd like to mention that here.
Of course, and thank you so much, Marcelo, for mentioning that. Because if we are knowing about the advantages, disadvantages should also be known. It's not only the positive thing or the shiny things that we should know. It's also about the other side of the story that's really important to know. So again, I would say that's really important. And let's move ahead with our next comment that we got from Johnny. And Johnny is saying, thank you for your useful video. I have one question. Can you help me? That my wife and I both got the green card 25 years ago after her father became a citizen. My wife became a US citizen 20 plus years ago. We live here in US after we got the green card. Now I want to apply for US citizen. So which category I should choose? General provision or spouse of a US citizen? I have meet all the requirements of both category. Your advice and response is highly appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can do either one because it's more than 3 or 5 years. So the spouse of U.S. citizen can naturalize with 3 years of permanent resident status, and everybody else is with 5 years. So whatever you do, it's going to be okay. You're going to be approved. If you still live with your wife, then you don't have to worry about doing the 3 years. You can just do the 5 years, but you have to show that you've been living in the U.S. for more than half of the statutory period. So that means if you are in the past 5 years, you have been here for more than 913 days, then you should go with the 5 year. There's no problem. But if using the 3 year will make you
Mhm.
have more time in the US than outside the US in those 3 years, which you wouldn't have if you count the 5 years, then you should go for the 3 years.
All right. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Johnny, for your comment, and we will definitely let you know more about the topic. Anand is here, and Anand is saying that when a L1B gets converted to L1A before expiry of 5 years in US, will the total tenure clock gets reset for the L1A? Will the tenure can be another 7 years for L1A? And also, while converting, do the candidates should be outside US for 1 year? Please advise.
Now, in this case, you can have the tenure change to the L1A, which is 7 years maximum. So you
Mm-hmm.
can have 2 additional years.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Anand, for your comment. And let's move ahead with the next one. And Jose is here. Jose is asking, do we need to wait for I-140 before filing EAD?
You don't, but sometimes you have to. So the I-140 is the underlying petition. So the EAD is only applied when you have the I-485, which is the application for adjustment of status. But sometimes you cannot file simultaneously because the preference is not current on the visa bulletin. So if it's an EB1, you can file I-140, I-485, and the request for EAD. You can file everything together, even if that 140 has not been approved yet. But if you're filing, for example, for an EB2 national interest waiver or an EB3, or if you have an EB1 but you are from India or China and it's not current for your countries, then
Mm-hmm.
you cannot request the EAD yet. You have to get the I-140 filed, but it's not the I-140 being approved.
Mm-hmm.
The date that you have to look for is the date the visa bulletin is calling up your priority date based on your country of chargeability.
That's right. Okay. Thank you, Jose, for your comment and for your question. Let's move ahead with our next comment. Okay, Akash is here. Akash is asking that I'm holding a valid H-1B visa with me, and the stamping was completed back in November 2024. Now, if I plan to switch to a new employer, then will my current visa be revoked by my existing employer, or can I utilize my existing H-1B visa to find a new employer from India? I have not traveled to US yet. I'm still in India and I'm exploring the opportunities to utilize my visa and make it work.
So that can be a little tricky. So you have the stamp from the company, but now you want to work for a different company. So we have to see how they place this visa on your passport. But normally you can come to the United States for that visa, or you can get a notation on your visa that now you're going to work for a different employer. But that petition has to be already approved. If you come with that visa and then decide to change employment here through the portability, then you wouldn't change your visa, but you would change your status. Actually, you're going to have the same status, but change the employer that's giving you that status. So that's something that has to be uh, synchronized perfectly so you don't have problems in the future.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. All right, now let's move ahead with the next question. Okay, so I think Akash one was the last one that we got from YouTube. So I think with that, Marcelo, we have completed all the questions from. Okay, Vishwanathan is here. All right, let's take Vishwanathan's comment. And he's asking that I have L1A interview next week. All right. Genuine, what difficulties I have for clearing with new vetting. Told that 90% is done with PI-129 approved, so 10% on interview.
Yes, well, the Department of State has been making several mistakes regarding these petitions like H and L. So L is a dual intent visa, but even though it's a dual intent visa, sometimes they apply the 214B rule, which is a complete mistake, an
Mm-hmm.
absolute mistake. It cannot be done this way, but the Department of State is feeling very above the law at this moment. So you have to be just concerned about 214B, which is the demonstration that you're not coming here permanently. You still have intention to go back to your
Mm-hmm.
country after finishing your program. That shouldn't be an issue on L1A or H1B, but today it is an issue, and there they have some petitions denied at the some applications denied at the consulate after the petition has already been approved by USCIS. The good news is this might be one of the exceptions that you can actually sue the Department of State in federal court in the United States if they deny under 214B. I've seen precedent decisions about this, and it can be done. It's not easy, but it can be done. Hopefully, you won't have any problems with the consulate when you go for your interview. Good luck.
Absolutely. Good luck, Vishwanathan, and thank you so much for your comment. Also, you can put up more questions or more comments. We will definitely take that up. And this we have already taken I-129 approved. Okay, but also it's not, I would say, not just Vishwanathan or Patricia or Bruno or anyone, guys, you can directly reach out to our attorney, Marcelo Gondim. And that is one of the best thing because you can personally take the expert advice. It's through show that we are taking up these questions, but I'm sure that there are more questions, there are more doubts that you guys are having in your mind, especially during this time. So why don't you go ahead and directly get in touch with our attorney Marcelo Gondim on the given detail. That is, the number is 323-282-7770, and the email ID is frontdesk@gondim-law.com, and the website is www.gondimlaw.com. So yeah, I think, and Vishwanathan is here, and he's saying that that's thanks, that helps. Of course, thank you, Vishwanathan, and I have shared the contact details of attorney, so you can also directly ask any question to him, and he will definitely give you the expert advice. So with that, Marcelo, it. I really didn't, and I would say, realize that it's just 1 hour past, and we have come across with lots of questions. So it was really great having you on the show, and always a pleasure to have a show with you. So thank you so much for joining us. And how was your experience? How did you feel? Anything that you would like to share with our viewers? Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And I like the experience of talking to people from other countries, from everywhere about visas. This is what we do every day, and we enjoy talking about it.
Absolutely. And knowing information from you is like cherry on top, because you always, fill the show with lots of insights, and that too in a very simple way. So, again, a big thank you to you for your time and for your support. It's really appreciating, and we are really honored to have a show with you. So, again, thank you so much, Marcelo, and have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
All right. So that's all, friends, and it was a great session. I hope you guys enjoyed. And in case if you still have any questions or any doubts after the live stream goes on end, don't worry, we will still take those questions, and we'll definitely get back to you. Till then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for such informational webinars and also for such informational videos. And also press the bell icon so that you get the notification whenever we come live with any attorney, and you can directly participate in that session. So that's all for today's episode. And also, it would be lovely if you could, join us on our session that is just coming live at 4 p.m. EDT. That is Daily Immigration Dose. So till then, friends, take care, everyone, and fill yourself with lots of information. Don't lose hope. Stay vigilant, stay resilient all the time, and stay motivated, because we are here to spread a lot of information and to keep yourself updated. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. So thank you. Good luck, everyone, and take care.